I genuinely want to know, is it content or is it media day? I've lost track. Which one is it? Which one is it?
Hey, New York, it's content day.
What I do know is media/content day means that the NBA and our New York Knicks are right around the corner. What's up, y'all?
What's happening, everybody?
And what else I do know is if my content/media day look like this, yeah, that'd probably be it for basketball for me. Brooklyn Nets, man, the Brooklyn Nets. And then they got Michael Porter Jr. over there, you know, feeling himself a little too much, saying some crazy things. It's been an off season, and I'm kind of bummed that I wasn't really posting like that in the off season, but I gotta be real, bro. I needed the break, but now we're back because football isn't doing anything for me, you know? And before y'all come after my New Orleans Saints, you Jets and Giants fans, you guys can't say nothing either, so mind your business, because content day was yesterday. And there was a lot of sound bites. My man Mikal Bridges said some amazing things, you know. Josh Hart's finger is the size of... I got nothing. I'm in preseason mode. It's the size of fill in the blank. I don't know what y'all want to call it. Jalen Brunson had a funny moment with his dad. Karl-Anthony Towns keeping it political in his comments. And Mike Brown said a lot by not saying too much. Let's break down all my keys from content day yesterday. Ooh, we haven't done this in a few months. Run the intro. What is going on, CK Crew? It's your boy CK2K. Welcome back to another video. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Don't forget to like this video. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Your boy tried. I tried. I really wanted to do the whole posting thing for the offseason. I apologize. So your boy decided to focus on the Twitch. If you ain't following me on Twitch, what's wrong with you? Go follow on Twitch right now. We were doing some fun stuff over on Twitch during the off season, but now it's time to get in the nitty gritty as the Knicks are a few weeks away from their first preseason game, meaning that it is time for the season to get going. Actually, today, training camp has begun, so I'm sure future CK is putting those clips together to talk about training camp day one for the next video. But right now, I want to talk about content day because I have some opinions on how I feel a content day went. Starting off with none other than our captain, my captain, Jalen Brunson. Really, honestly, didn't have too many big moments in content day, if you ask my humble opinion. I mean, Jalen Brunson kept it captainly, kept it political. He did have a very funny moment with him and his pops.
Worry about the expectations set on us. Now we're gonna have a set of goals. And we're gonna speak well, son. They should have taken him too.
I think a big key moment was what he had to say about Tom Thibodeau. We know Tom Thibodeau being let go after last season, after a great run, a few games short of being in the NBA Finals. New York Knicks, as you guys know, got rid of Tom Thibodeau. Jalen Brunson spoke on that for the first time since then.
He's meant a lot to me. I've expressed that to him publicly and personally. And but yeah, he's meant a lot to my career up to this point.
And also, speaking of us being so close to the NBA Finals, Brunson had some words to say about losing when we did and how it stung and how long it took for him to process it.
It took me a while. Obviously, you think about it, but it's always good to have short-term memory, to focus on what's going on ahead and figure out how you can be better, and you can learn from the things in the past. But definitely not something easy just to get over.
But as far as Brunson, that's really the key sound bites we got from him. But one of my favorite things that we did catch Jalen Brunson was we saw Jalen Brunson modeling and filming some content in our new statement jerseys. For so many years we were rocking these jerseys, those dark blue jerseys that I thought did the job, but the Knicks now are going to change those up to what has been rumored to be these black jerseys. 2K kind of ruined it a little bit, and we've seen leaks all over the place. But now Jalen Brunson dribbling, we got him at content day. Somebody got him behind the scenes, official in those statement jerseys. Thoughts about the statement jerseys, let me know in the comments below. I'm a fan of them, but we'll see when they're officially debuted and talked about for our New York Knicks. But speaking of Jalen Brunson, I think one of the other keys that have to do with Jalen Brunson that he didn't really say is from Mike Brown, our new head coach of the New York Knicks. It was talked about how Mike Brown is planning on utilizing Jalen Brunson off the ball. The question was asked if they're going to look for opportunities or ways to get something out of Jalen Brunson without the ball being in his hands, and Mike Brown said this.
He seems like he's a versatile player, and biggest thing that I want to do for him is try to get him, as well as everybody else, easy shots. And one of the easiest shots in the game of basketball is a spray three. I'm a big proponent of touching the paint and spraying that basketball for a catch and shoot three. And so within what we do, we're going to try to get him a lot of those situations. On top of that, you know, if you do touch the paint, whether it's on the dribble drive or on a cut, if it's on the dribble drive, when you touch the paint and you get off of it, we want you to keep moving. And again, the little bit that we've seen so far in Jalen during these optional workouts, he seems like he's embraced it. Because you have to be in great condition in order to play this way, but he seems like he's embraced it, and I'm looking forward to seeing if we can continue to try to find ways, especially when we start playing games, that we try to find ways to get him some easy catch and shoot looks, because the ball will be in his hands, especially down the stretch. And so to make the game easier throughout the course of the game is going to be a big thing.
And all of these are key. I mean, we know Jalen Brunson is Jalen Brunson, but the problem is, even though he was number 17, number 18 in most minutes played, which is okay, which is doable, he was the highest in the NBA in dribbling in the league. And you know, as great as Jalen Brunson is, we need to find ways to make the game a little bit easier for him while still getting the Jalen Brunson-ness out of Jalen Brunson. And I feel like if what Mike Brown is saying is true and he actually is finding ways to get him open for those open spot up threes, I'm a fan of it. Again, I'm gonna have to wait and see with this. We would love to see it utilized. All I can really do is go off of what he did with Sacramento, and there was a lot of instances where they did a good job at, you know, using Fox as an example off the ball to get some of those shots, but only time can tell. Also, time can only tell about what our starting lineup is going to be, because Mike Brown is staying tight-lipped on what he is deciding on doing with the starting lineup.
Yeah, no, it will materialize throughout camp. I think it's too early to go in and say, hey, this is what's going to happen. The roster, you know, Leon and his group did a fantastic job putting together a talented, deep roster, and so you have to be methodical with your approach when it comes to declaring, okay, hey, these guys are going to start.
Now, we know Mike Brown is not the biggest fan of running a too-big system. I don't want Josh Hart to be in the starting lineup. Again, we're going to get to Josh Hart in a little bit. There's the conversation on, Knicks Twitter. There's a conversation on other YouTube channels that, Deuce McBride could get that spot. For me, it doesn't seem like it's that hard. You start Mitchell Robinson next to Karl-Anthony Towns. The numbers don't lie. Now, how long you do that, that's up to Mike Brown. You could do it for the first 5 minutes in the game and then take one of them out and bring in the smaller line. You can do whatever you need to do. But to me, to start off the game, especially to set the tone defensively, it's just a no-brainer to go with Mitchell Robinson, and you match up from there however you need to match up. It's just a no-brainer. How you close the game depends on how the game is going. To me, it's common sense. You start the game with Jalen Brunson, Mikal, OG, Cat, and Mitchell Robinson. How the game ends is whatever the game calls for. If it's going small and you got to go shooters, then you do what you got to do. There might be some games where Clarkson closes out the game outside of Mitchell Robinson. Maybe there is those moments where Hart needs to close the game. To me, do what the game is asking for. But starting the game, Mitchell Robinson got me in the lineup, set the tone defensively, and go from there. That's how I see it. But Mike Brown not giving us anything. Let me know your thoughts on what you think the starting five should be going forward. But from our new head coach, we go to the new, freshly signed Mikal Bridges, who signed an extension over the offseason, which had mixed opinions from fans, because there's people who feel like we gave up a little too much to get Mikal Bridges. But after seeing how the Brooklyn Nets utilized some of those picks in the first draft, I proceed to say we're going to be just fine. I feel like we still got the better of the trade, but I understand you got to see it to believe it. All that being said, Mikal Bridges signing an extension. I love the decision. I feel like it is a no-brainer, and Mikal signing the extension, but Mikal Bridges definitely could have got a lot more in this extension. He decided to shed a few M's off of the total amount that he's going to get throughout this entire extension, and he talked about the reason why to that.
I was just seemed like a fraud, and that's not who I am. I want to win bad and whatever it takes, and like I said, I love all the guys here, so why wouldn't I want the next man up that needs some money? Why would I not give them an opportunity to get paid as well? So I think I got a good amount of money. I think a couple of more M's will change my life, so I think it'll be better to help everybody else out.
That's my guy. That's my guy. I love that reasoning. Completely true, man. You want to get your money. You're going to get your money, but what's more important, and that's winning to Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges cannot say enough about how he is more focused on winning and he wants winning. But one of the big things I loved about Mikal Bridges is he wasn't shy to talk about what I just mentioned, and that is some of the ridicule and the criticism that he got from some of you guys last year. And he was honest. He honestly said that it is something that he heard but also agreed with. He had this to say about the criticism.
Last year was tough throughout the season and playoffs helped a little bit, but I don't know, man. I think I can appreciate the fans and everybody like that. I think a lot of people thought I might be upset because maybe they was getting on me a little too hard, but I think I was more mad at myself in the situation because everything they want is what I want. So it's not like why y'all getting on me. You know, some things can be a little too crazy, but that's just life how it is. But I think we all want the same goal. So
I couldn't have said it better than myself. I completely agree. Look, I've said it. Mikal Bridges, for me, what I see in Mikal Bridges is what he's going to mean for this team long term. It was his first season playing with the team. He was instantly put into a spot where he had to guard the other team's best player off the dribble and stuff that he hadn't really done since his rookie season. So yes, there was a lot of things. We're seeing the stats about him being the most scored on player and this, that, and the third. It was a tough first season for Mikal Bridges, even though he was a big part to why we got as far as we got in the playoffs. And you know, Mikal Bridges, not acting naive to the situation, knows what it is, but like he said, he agrees with a lot of the things, a lot of criticism that people said. And I do agree with him saying that, you know, some of y'all were a little too out of pocket with some of the complaints. Y'all just were complaining just to complain. But, you know, the fact that he's aware and knows what to do, knows what he wants to fix. He wants to see the same things fixed in himself that you guys want to see fixed. I'm a fan of Mikal Bridges. To me, the stock's going to go up. Just remember who was here at the beginning. The Mikal Bridges, our president, was here. Mikal also had some things to say about Tom Thibodeau and his firing.
You know, being in a situation and losing a job is, you know, I'm a human first always. So just feel for somebody going through that. And it was always tough. And, you know, I always appreciated Tibbs here. You know, great guy and everything. So just always feel for him.
So yeah, man, you know, we talk about Mike Brown and what he's gonna do for Jalen Brunson and things like that. I'm interested to see how Mikal Bridges shines in this new offense, in this new look of offense. You know, we saw Mikal Bridges have a stretch when Jalen Brunson was out with injury, where he was the team's leading scorer in some in the majority of those games. OG Anunoby had his run as well. I want to see that version, that quote unquote Brooklyn version of Mikal Bridges, where he was forced to be the leading scorer. I feel like that is definitely something he can do. Hate him or love him, he's a guy that can score at all three levels. I don't care what any of you guys say. And hopefully we figure out ways on how we can get a good balance of Mikal Bridges with the Brunsons, the Anunobys, and Karl-Anthony Towns. And, you know, Jordan Clarkson's gonna have to find his buckets as well. So, you know, I'm interested in that part of the offense going forward. But, you know, Mikal Bridges, high president, is going nowhere, and I'm excited to see year two of Mikal Bridges. Karl-Anthony Towns, his answers to me were real political. You know, there wasn't really much essence to Karl-Anthony Towns and his stuff, in my humble opinion. You know, he was staying, you know, political with a lot of his answers. There was a moment where the lights went out and he said this.
You know, I don't know truthfully yet, but I know I'm a lights out shooter, but damn.
Please don't say goodbye, goodbye.
Come on, man.
Yeah, you know, but it's Karl-Anthony Towns. My big key for him is looking at him on the defensive end. Is that going to be improved with Brown? I don't know. Last but not least, we got to talk about, you know, the fan favorite, Joshua Hart. Josh Hart, you know, always funny on the mic, especially when he talked about the whole starting lineup situation, and the possibility of him coming off the bench and how he feels if that is to happen.
If I don't start, I'll probably ask for a trade and go somewhere else. But no, I mean, you know, I had the best year of my career last year. But that's in the past. I think I'm a starter in the league. I think I deserve to be a starter in the league. But at the end of the day, it's, you know, what's best for the team. And, you know, last year I talked about sacrifice the whole time and kind of being that servant mentality and being a good steward of my gifts and those kind of things. So I think it would be extremely selfish for me to go out there and demand a start and all that kind of thing. So, you know, whatever Mike wants to do or doesn't want to do, you know, I'm cool with. And, you know, time will tell what that is. But, you know, I'm gonna figure it out how I have to figure it out.
You heard it here first, man. If he is not starting, he will ask for a trade. But more importantly, you know, he did say some very strong opinions, saying that he thinks that last year was his best year. Some could argue, you know, I think I liked than the year before last better, but you know, maybe there's some statistics there that match up to Josh Hart. I'm gonna let y'all have that conversation, but he believed last year was his best year. He believes he's a starter in the NBA, but the big key for me is him saying he wants to do his best for the team. I'm gonna act like I believe it. I don't know, because if you're gonna lead by saying you believe you're a starter in this league, which, you know, I guess on some teams you could be a starter, but for this squad, you know, I think it's better for Josh Hart to come off the bench. And again, if the game calls for it to close out, then do that. I just don't want Josh Hart playing the 4 anymore on my New York Knicks. That's it. That's the brass tacks of it. I don't care how good of a rebounder he is. I don't care. I don't want Josh Hart playing the 4 on my basketball team anymore. So let me know what you think should be done with Josh Hart. Should he start? Should he come off the bench? Where do you want him? Let me know about that. But we're not done talking about Josh Hart just yet, because there is the conversation about, well, that big old finger that he got. And it's funny because he was so ginger and so worried to talk about it throughout the entirety of his interview. And even when you talked about it, it was just such an awkward vibe from him, like there's something he's hiding. Now we know about the injury he suffered to the finger. He then got it surgically repaired, but for whatever reason it still does not look much better. Well, Josh Hart explained why the finger looks the way it looks.
Yeah, it's I was out for a little while and some other stuff, so I'm just trying to get used to it, and then, you know, get through the season with it. Nah, I mean, it's just don't want to go into too much detail, but yeah, obviously, you know, got a procedure on it, you know, and then kind of re-aggravated it, you know, somewhat recently. So probably just rock out with a splint this season, and you know, try to fix it again next summer.
Yeah, like I said, tiptoeing around what it is. You re-aggravated the injury, but not really going into detail on how that happened. It means he's gonna have to play with a splint on the finger this year. You talked about how he's not a fan of that.
You know, me personally, I hate playing with anything on my hands. I feel like I don't have a good feel for it. So you know, it might take a little getting used to, but you know, that's the best scenario for me right now. And you know, I want to be out there with these guys. I'm gonna do everything I can do to be out there with these guys. Right now, you know, the full expectation is just go out there, hoop, you know, this season and help this team be successful. And then at the end of the year, when I got some downtime and you know, now I actually kind of know what's wrong, instead of last year just kind of thinking it was one thing and then taking a break and then getting back into basketball and, you know, realizing it was worse than I thought. So with that being said, yeah, I'll be good.
Yeah, interesting stuff. The way that he's going about it, it's like it was just like a, you know, extra curricular event that led to him injuring the finger. But I'm sure there's going to be some internet sleuths that are going to figure out how he re-injured the finger. It might come out some way, shape, or form. Hell, it might be out right now. If it is, let me know in the comments. Interesting turn of events there. Let me know your thoughts about everything mentioned in this video, about content day, about the other things going on. We saw some good moments. We had Yabusele take this picture right here. Jordan Clarkson with a little hype video looking dope in the new Knicks uniform. The quote-unquote big three with, you know, OG Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Jalen Brunson. There's a lot of moments from media day that we saw here, but let me know your favorite moments. Let me know your thoughts about everything mentioned. You know the vibes. I'll be meeting you guys in the comment section below. Yeah, man, we're in training camp mode, so that means your boy CK needs to get himself back together with his uploading schedule, and I appreciate you guys for rocking with me as always. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Don't forget to like this video. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. I'm ready to look at some training camp footage and hear what these guys had to say after their first official training camp. So let's get into that. All right. I'll see you guys next week. I'm out. Peace.